Hello, everyone. Thank you for signing on to today's Amtrak Vacations presentation, Escape the Crowds, 7 national parks to travel by train. I'm so excited to have you folks here on the presentation with me today. Let's jump in. Let's get into it. Now, before we get started, I want you folks to know that we have 3 free downloadable handouts on the side of the GoToWebinar platform. Number one, highlighting the sleeper accommodations on the train, one with our Amtrak Vacation Systems map, and then our National Parks flyer, which does go handsomely in conjunction with the topic of the presentation this morning. Popping up onto your screen now is your host, Jarrett Kettinger. Now, I recognize by my picture I look a little youthful. I've been with Amtrak Vacations for going on 7 years now. And so if any of you have any questions, don't hesitate to type them into the questions box on the side of the GoToWebinar platform. I'll answer any and all questions at the end of the presentation. Additionally, I may be asking you some questions along the way, and I like to have some good interaction with you folks. So don't hesitate to type your answers to my questions into the side of the GoToWebinar platform, and I may even call out your name as you do so. Popping up onto the screen now is the Amtrak Vacation Systems map. Everywhere you folks are seeing a colorful line on the map, that's a route that Amtrak travels on. Everywhere you're seeing a dark blue or navy blue dot, that's a destination that Amtrak Vacations travels to, where we incorporate the hotels, the sightseeing, and the attractions all bundled together with the rail travel experience. And we're already getting our first question, such as Martha McDonald asking, are the roomettes or bedrooms available to accommodate 3 adults? They do not. They only accommodate up to 2 people. And we have someone saying, I travel alone, but I would like to book a roomette. Am I required to pay for 2? No, you're actually not. You're not required to pay for 2. You're just paying for 1 ticket and the cost of the roomette. Now, since I'm already starting to answer some of your questions, now you can answer some of mine. Again, typing your answer into the questions box on the side of the GoToWebinar panel. Prior to this presentation, did any of you know that you could book hotels, sightseeing, and attractions in a package with the rail travel experience with Amtrak? Did any of you know? Nancy says she knew that. Barbara says she did, but we did get some no's, and that's okay. That's why we do presentations such as this. By the way, I will try and answer your questions as we go along. Ben says he looked into a little bit. So maximum flexibility offer. Any new reservations can change travel dates or cancel up to 5 days prior to departure. Any existing reservations can reschedule 5 days prior to departure without incurring any change or cancellation fees. Barbara is asking what the enhanced safety measures are on Amtrak. I will cover that in a minute. Barbara's also asking, another Barbara, different Barbara, can you book a circle, I'm guessing round trip tour and build your own trip? Yes, all that's possible through Amtrak Vacations by giving us a call, and you can see the phone number at the bottom of the screen. All rail vacations are customizable from your hometown. In fact, there are over 500 different stations to start from. Over 500 different options for you to pick from. Simple as that. And what does customize mean? Customize is kind of a big world. So let me go over a hypothetical. Say that you are interested in our Rails to the Grand Canyon trip, which includes overnight rail journeys from Los Angeles, California to Williams, Arizona and back, with 2 nights actually staying at the south rim of the Grand Canyon. So not just a visit, but you actually get to stay at a lodge at the south rim of the Grand Canyon. So you're excited about it, you're interested in doing it, you're really happy to go on, but you also want to extend the stay. So not just 2 nights at the south rim of the Grand Canyon, but maybe 3 or 4. No problem. We can extend the stay and add a couple of extra nights. Then not only do that, but also you wanted to upgrade to the El Tavar, which sits on the ledge of the Grand Canyon, the just right on the rim. Again, simple as that. All you have to do is tell us. So you want to add an extra night, you want to upgrade, pretty simple. Then you actually want to stay for a few nights in Los Angeles when you get back from the end of the trip and do 2 nights in Los Angeles, maybe do some sightseeing. Pretty simple. We would just add the Los Angeles getaway to the end to create your own customized itinerary. So, show of hands, yes or no. Does that make sense to you when I say we can customize our itineraries? We can take an itinerary, add extra nights, upgrade, add to the end. Renee right off the bat said yes. Michael right off the bat said yes. Thelma's coming right in, said yes. Abel said that's great. I'm liking all of these answers so far, liking all of them. And you can choose from 3, 4, and 5-star hotel options. So at the major cities, we can upgrade or maybe fit in more with a budget, whatever it is. Candy Jones is on this webinar. Okay, for those of you who do not know, Candy Jones is one of my favorite people in the world. Candy, thank you for signing on. I really appreciate it. So excited to have you this morning. Good morning to you. This is how interactive I am. I will recognize you by name. Frequently asked questions. How is Amtrak maintaining a safe environment? That is a big question. Number one, facial coverings are required in stations, on the trains, and in the throughway buses that Amtrak services. All of the above. The facial coverings are required. Enhanced cleaning protocols have been put into effect, which means that the equipment is cleaned and sanitized frequently. When I say frequently, I mean daily, multiple times daily. Amtrak is going cashless and contactless. So if we can avoid the use of paper money changing hands or even just picking up a ticket from one person to another, they are doing it. Social distancing posters and floor stickers are at each of the different train stations have been put into place, and trains are running at 50% traveler capacity to ensure social distancing. Simple as that. Now, let me ask you, after having heard all of this, does it sound a little bit safer nowadays to travel by train to you as opposed to maybe traveling by plane? Thomas, right off the gate, said yes. Barbara said yes. Ben said yes. Scott said, you bet. Abel said, much safer. Candy Jones, local celebrity. Got to give her, I got to play her up because Candy knows how much I think of her. She's awesome. How about dining? We're going to cover that later on in the presentation. Now, why take the train? This is a great example picture. To the left, you see actually one of our employees here took a picture of what it's like to travel on board a motor coach escorted trip. Strangers, all compact in a local spot, stuck on a bus for long periods of time, not really able to go anywhere. And this was last year before Corona craziness hit. Then you have a nice couple to the right traveling on board the train, enjoying the sightseeing, happy, not stuck with strangers they don't know, especially nowadays where their social distancing is being enforced. Doesn't that sound a little bit better? Doesn't that sound a little bit more of an enjoyable experience? Who here really wants to be stuck nowadays? Well, and someone said they don't have a face mask. Candidly, this picture was taken last year. Both of them. They don't have a face mask. They will have a face mask. I could update this to have face. Does anybody want a picture with a face mask? I mean, it's true. You're going to have it. But at this point, social distancing, they're enjoying the their company from the window of the train. They're going to enjoy the sightseeing. It's a nice experience. Ben said, cheaper than plane flight. Last year I traveled to Baltimore. I don't think I would have been able to travel at all had I had to use the plane because of the 2 times cost of plane tickets alone. Ben, you get the gold star for the day. You get the gold star for the day. Thank you, Ben. By the way, I want to hear all of your feedback, and I'm going to repeat the feedback on this presentation. You know why? Because there are so many travel companies out there right now, Candy knows this, that are doing webinars. And they want people to sign on, and they do the most basic click type presentation, and it's boring. Who here wants a boring presentation? No, I'm going to be the most realistic person on a webinar that you've ever had. Who wants real as opposed to fake? Who wants in your face as opposed to fake? Who wants to be talked to like a person? Barbara Ballard said real is the best, and she gave me a little smiley face, which is really nice. I really appreciate that. You know what? You don't usually get smiley faces when people say, I'm going to be real in your face. You know what? That's what you get out of me. That's who I am. Now, here's the main question of the day. Candy Jones, no, you're the best. And you know what? I can say that because Candy Jones is one of my favorite people, best local celeb, and she is one of the best travel advisors I've ever met because Candy tells it like it is. That's why I'm going to tell you like it is on this presentation. Candy, thank you for taking the time this morning. I can't wait to see you at another travel conference. Now, here's the question of the day. Who here is ready to step off the train and into the open spaces of the national parks to do some social distancing in the national parks? Abel said, that's right, keep it real. Abel, you're the man. Renee said, me. Ben said, third bit about being treated like a person as opposed to statistic for selling point is being told pros and cons. I'll tell you about the pros and cons. Barbara said, yes. Abel said, Grand Canyon, here we come. I'm gonna say, Abel, absolutely, Grand Canyon, here we come. You guys, you know what? Here's what we're gonna talk about. Did you folks know that there was someone that was on this presentation a minute ago trying to break the presentation? They were trolling me. They were typing into the questions box. They were trying to keep you from being able to ask your questions and tell your answers. They were putting all sorts of craziness into the questions box. That's how real I'm going to be with you. I'm going to tell you the truth. The truth is that we had someone here that was trying to keep you from being able to ask your questions because they were flooding the questions box with nonsense. Nope, we're not going to listen to them. This is a real presentation. Renee said that's awful. It is awful. You know what? That happens every week. It's the same person. Guess what, Renee? We're moving past that. I threw them off of the webinar. Sounds like the internet blah. That's what Ben said. I agree, Ben. You know what we're going to talk about today? We're not talking about nonsense. We're talking about the beautiful national parks, such as Glacier National Park. Look at that. Look at the colors of that national park. You have the sun setting over the park. It's gorgeous. It's an amazing experience. Who here doesn't want to see that at the end of their day? Or this during the day? The bears. You see the big sky area of Montana. You have on the lower level the sky as the sun is setting over the mountains with the lakes. That is what you're going to experience in the park. We have our Glacier Park getaway. Again, we can start from any of the over 500 different stations all throughout the USA and Canada. And we don't just do the package with the train and just hotel, we include sightseeing. Because if you're going to the park, why not spend the maximum amount of time of sightseeing all around the park, including the Big Sky Circle Tour and the Two Medicine Valley boat cruise. Then we have the Glacier Park Express. Let me teach you how to read the map here. We include 2 nights hotel accommodations in Chicago. You can see that by the bubble that says 2 on Chicago. Then an overnight on the train with a red arrow from Chicago to Glacier. You can see that by the red arrow with the number 1 in it going from Chicago to Glacier. 3 nights in Glacier, 1 night on the train from Glacier to Seattle, 2 nights in Seattle. And you can see the very rugged, very beautiful Empire Builder route that travels up through the northern part of the country from Chicago to Glacier, Glacier to Seattle. So that is the Glacier Park Express. I did get a question. Do you have to wear the face masks in the park? Well, when you're surrounded with, if you're around people, yes. When you're out in the park in general, whether you're driving in with a rental car or you're in your hotel room or you're out alone, then of course you can take your mask off. No one's going to hamper you from that. Simple as that. Again, most real presentation you're ever going to get. Here's the Grand Canyon National Park. Abel, this is for you because you said Grand Canyon, here we come. This is the sights that you are going to see in the national park. Who here is ready to go and see something like this? Or something like this? The ooh-ah point. That always makes me smile. Someone asked, is this a group experience or a solo experience? It's FIT, independent travel. So if you're traveling as a solo person, then you're solo. If you're traveling with family, friends, travel companions, it's with them. It's not a group experience. This is done on your own. Jeannie said yes, and Jeannie, I agree 100%. Now, as Candy knows, the great and wise Candy Jones knows that we do services on the Grand Canyon Railway. Now, we base our package in coach accommodations on the Grand Canyon Railway, but we can definitely upgrade you to first class, which includes plush, comfy seating, refreshments, etc., or the observation dome, as you can see in this picture, where the windows go up to the roof of the dome car. Thelma asked, is this round trip? It can be, or it could be one way. It's totally up to you, Thelma. And I love this screenshot because it shows you exactly where the train is. I'm going to leave this up for a second so you folks can get a good look at the historic Grand Canyon Village and kind of get an idea, especially for you, Abel, because you want to go down there. You are excited about it, on what you can experience down at the Grand Canyon Village. By the way, folks, that person I told you about that likes to sign on and preempt our webinar, he just signed back on. I just throw him off. He was trying to move the screen. I threw him off. We're all in this together. Ben said, I love to travel more. I'm a little worried about the cost, but he has a budget, but we will work it together, Ben. Jeannie said, troll, go away. I threw him off. He doesn't want to be on here. He's scared of us. You know why? Because we're here to talk about the national parks. We're not here to talk about nonsense. Here we have the Grand Canyon Getaway, which includes round trip and coach accommodations. Who here remembers what I just said 30 seconds ago? What are the 2 types of upgrades you can ask for? Anybody remember? Michael said first class. Barbara said dome car. Beautiful. Scott said first class or observation. So far, we have some Jeopardy folks right here. Cindy said first class and dome. Awesome. So we have the Grand Canyon Getaway round trip and coach accommodations or can upgrade with the Grand Canyon tour and a few nights hotel accommodations. We have Yellowstone. Yellowstone is by far my favorite national park that I've ever traveled to. And here you can see one of the beautiful waterfalls. Barbara, are you saying OMG because of the waterfall? I want to hear it. Yes or no? Or was it just because of Yellowstone or because as soon as I hit this, Barbara said OMG and now I'm excited. This is the first Barbara said, oh, yes, I love Yellowstone. Yellowstone is my favorite park. Fun fact, before it was named Yellowstone, it was very nearly called Wonderland National Park. And it was the first established national park in the United States. Fun fact. Now, I'm going to highlight a couple of packages today. But first, I got to show you, here is what Yellowstone looks like in the winter. Then you have the wonderful hot springs, such as the Grand Prismatic Spring. And then it also has many, and you will experience this yourself, wildlife features in the park, including the bison. You have the Grand Tetons and Yellowstone Rail Experience. This includes train travel from Chicago out into Salt Lake City on the California Zephyr. The California Zephyr is the #1 most scenic rail route on the Amtrak system. It's regularly year over year within the Amtrak magazine voted the most scenic rail route. We also include a rental car, which will allow you to drive up into Jackson Hole to do a day tour of Jackson Hole. We will include that. It's a guided tour, and go up into Yellowstone with a guided tour of Yellowstone as well. Here you can see the California Zephyr. Now that travels through the heartland of the country, through the Colorado Rocky Mountains, the desert in Nevada, and out into the Bay Area of San Francisco. We include a half-day guided tour of Grand Tetons National Park, which is done in the early morning. It departs at 6 a.m. Now, I'm not guessing that anyone's too excited here that it's an early morning 6 a.m. tour. The reason why the tour goes out so early is that it gives you the maximum amount of opportunity to see wildlife, as the park is real quiet in the morning. And you include a guided sightseeing tour of Yellowstone National Park as well. And then we have Yosemite with El Capitan in the background there, the big, lush, wild forests of the park. And here you can see some other vantage points. Does this not sound like something that you might be interested in? I think it is. I think we're all ready to get out of our homes and do some sightseeing in the national parks. We got a question. I've been answering questions in real time. From what I've seen thus far, most of your package deals start to depart from cities like Chicago, LA, San Francisco. Are there opportunities to leave from other options such as, say, Kansas? Yes, absolutely. That was for Ben. Here's a question for the lot of you. Does anybody remember how many different stations that Amtrak departs from? I mentioned it earlier. Abel coming in strong, Barbara, Ballard, Tonvu, Renee, Cindy, all coming through 500. So yes, while we have some starting from points that are just average starting from points, there are over 500 different stations to choose from. And so we can absolutely get you going from your most local station. And we have Scott saying absolute awesome. Renee saying, I would love to go to Yosemite. So, Ben, I hope that answers your question for you. We can absolutely get you started from any of your most local station. Absolutely. Here we have the Rocky Mountains to Yosemite. So this includes 2 nights in Denver with a full day tour out to Rocky Mountain National Park, then connecting through to Salt Lake City for 2 nights, then taking the California Zephyr overnight to San Francisco with a day tour out to Yosemite. Sherilyn said, I love the idea of visiting Jackson Hole. You know what, Sherilyn? I love the idea of the idea of the idea of you loving to go to Jackson Hole. How's that? Here, folks, we have Rocky Mountains to Yosemite, sightseeing tour of Colorado Rocky Mountains, sightseeing tour of Yosemite National Park, with a sightseeing tour of Salt Lake City and dinner at the Roof Restaurant in Salt Lake City. And then we have our big round the country Grand National Parks with the Grand Canyon, Yosemite, and Glacier National Park. This itinerary always stands out to me for a couple of reasons. Number one, it visits Amtrak's Vacations most popular national park. Does anybody remember what our most popular national park is? Yep, Glacier National Park, right off the gate. It also visits Grand Canyon and Yosemite, and it travels through San Francisco, Seattle, and historic Route 66, Williams, Arizona. Scott said, now we're talking. Scott, I thought we were talking all along, but I'm glad you're on board right now. Matthew said, can you combine a trip to Yellowstone and Glacier National Park from Chicago? Matthew, that's like our bread and butter. We can customize any of our itineraries to fit your travel needs. And now we're going to hit some of the last national parks. We have Bryce Canyon National Park. And by the way, folks, those little crown looking like structures, those are called hoodoos. Say it with me, hoodoo. Who doesn't like saying the word hoodoo? That's funny. We have Zion National Park with its monumental rock structures, ginormous, and Arches and Canyonlands, which is on my bucket list to see Arches and Canyonlands, because who doesn't want to see beautiful big orange arches created by nature as the sun is setting over them and snapping a picture? Because if like you're a millennial like me, you got to put it on your Instagram. People like talking about Twitter and Facebook. I got to put it on my Instagram. So we have the Grand National Parks of the Southwest, Bryce and Zion to the Grand Canyon. Now, here is the most important thing to know about this itinerary. We include round trip service on the California Zephyr, which is Amtrak's #1 most selling rail route. But when you're traveling through all of these national parks, at least through the Bryce and Zion, Utah's Mighty Five, you have your own private driver with your own private luxury SUV. Cadillac Escalades, Chevy Suburban, GMC Denali. So in this time of social distancing, when you probably don't want to be stuck on a motor coach bus with 35 to 40 people you don't know, you will actually have your own private driver with your own private luxury SUV, all included. And so you can travel through all the parks. Abel had a great comment. To the park, James, as if he's demanding the driver. And you can see the beauty of these national parks. By the way, I'm so excited to show you all these photos. It's absolutely gorgeous. Now, packing for the train is simple. You're allowed 2 carry-ons of up to 50 pounds each and 2 check bags of up to 50 pounds each. That's per person, and that's completely free. I just got a question from Thelma. Do you have handicap accessible? Yes, we do. Thelma, I'm so glad you asked that because we get that I get asked that often, but it's always important to announce that. So, say you are someone that travels with an ADA accessible need. We are very, very sensitive to that and understanding of that. So do you know what we do? Before you give us $1, before you give us 50 cents, we make sure to go through every individual item on the list of travel, whether it's the train, whether it's the hotel, whether it's the sightseeing tour you're going to go on, and we make sure that it's ADA accessible, or if it isn't, we alert you before we take your money. That way, you know when you're depositing what you're getting yourself into, so that way you feel comfortable with us. We do not take people for granted. Can you have a private tour of Yellowstone and Glacier? Right now, COVID-19 is affecting that. So, no, we can provide you rental cars. So, you do a tour with an audio uh, video or audio CD so that you can put in the car so that you can operate it. Simple as that. I did something of the sort in Gettysburg a few years ago, was wonderful. Here you folks can see the coach accommodations on the train, which are two big plush comfy seats that recline at a 45-degree angle with a leg rest that'll kick up, a tray table that will fold down, outlets to charge devices in, a nice big picture window to enjoy all the sights out of. Because whether you're traveling in coach accommodations or the upgraded cabins, we want everybody to enjoy the sightseeing from the window of the train. Everybody deserves it. Come on, jump aboard. Now, the next step up is the roomette, which is its own private cabin on the train, which has two big plush seats that face each other, a nice big picture window to enjoy the sights out of. Everything folds down to bunk style sleeping, and you're probably looking at this cabin and the slide and saying, I don't see a bathroom in the room itself. The bathroom is down the hall. There is about 3 to 4 bathrooms to every roomette car, and only those staying in the roomette car have access to those bathrooms. However, remember, folks, we are now traveling at a 50% capacity. And so only 50% are going to be in those roomettes, so there's a lot less people sharing them, and there is someone that's constantly cleaning them out. And it's important to note that sleeping accommodation passengers board separately. They board priority. And there's a privacy door for the privacy, for the safety. And while you have to wear the facial coverings at the stations and when boarding the train, once you're in the cabin with the door shut, you can remove your facial coverings. The next step up is the sleeper bedroom, which is the bigger cabin on the train with a long couch, a big captain's chair, nice big picture window, and the bathrooms are within the room itself. And I can tell you the bedrooms are the first to sell out nowadays because of the COVID-19 virus. And so definitely, if you're ready to think about travel, jump on them. And I want to say cheers to all of you. You know why? These folks are about to pour their glass of wine out and clink their glasses and say cheers. You folks have signed on to the presentation today. It looks like you're ready to start thinking about travel. Whether you book or not, I just want to say thank you for signing on. Ben had a funny one. Train coach is a far cry from airplane coach. Uncomfortable, cough, cough. I'm loving your enthusiasm. I want to know about all sides of the travel. Okay, you want to know about all sides? You're going to have to wear facial covering. You're going to have a bunch of legroom and coach on a train that you wouldn't have on a plane. Social distancing is being reinforced so that it's not like a certain United airline cough, cough. that didn't have social distancing enforced. Barbara said, I'm hoping to get some folks on board as well as myself. Are the prices per person? They're per person based on double occupancy. Now, dining on the train is included whenever you have a sleeper accommodation. Meals are automatically factored in. They're cooked to order with a full menu to choose from, and they can be delivered to your cabin. Just a recap on the maximum flexibility offer. New reservations can change their travel dates up until 5 days prior to departure. Any existing reservations can reschedule as long as we're informed 5 days prior to departure. Everyday discounts. Children aged 2 to 12 receive half off, 50% off the base rail ticket fare. Seniors 65 and over, veterans, and then active military personnel, spouses, and dependents of the active military personnel receive a 10% discount off the rail portion of the Amtrak package. Are the tables only included within the bedroom suites? That's a very great question, Nancy. No, there are fold-out tables in the roomettes as well. Any of you folks are welcome to sign on to AmtrakVacations.com to do a little research before giving us a call. An exclusive upgrade. Upgrade to sleeper accommodations on board Amtrak with a package and save $100 per booking. And seniors 65 and over now receive the discount. Upcoming webinars, June 23rd and 24th, 5 close-to-home getaways to visit this fall. Don't forget, we have 3 free downloadable handouts, one highlighting the sleeper accommodations, one highlighting the Amtrak system map, and one highlighting the national parks. It's a flyer for it. Okay, folks, you just signed on to a 35-minute presentation. Tell me, what destinations are you interested in, and when might you want to go now after seeing the presentation? All right, I already know Abel wanted to go to the Grand Canyon. Michael said I wanted to go to Yellowstone, but Arches looks good to me. Let's see. Barbara said 2021 springtime Grand Canyon. Cynthia said Glacier in August. Cindy said Grand Canyon August. Renee said Glacier in Yosemite. By the way, anyone that's looking to book farther out into 2021, we can do so. Abel said Grand Canyon in August, Portland, Maine in March 21 for my new granddaughter's first birthday. Congratulations, Abel. First birthday for your granddaughter. That's awesome. Thomas said, is there a trip to include all national parks, all 7 of them? Yes, we can customize to get all 7. Jan says Utah's Mighty 5. Matthew said Glacier, Yellowstone from Chicago, June 2021. Miles said Yosemite and Bryce 2021. Thank you, folks, for signing on to the presentation. Linda said she wants to go from Canada. You can, as soon as the borders open up. I want to thank you, folks, for signing on to the presentation today. I hope that I made it clear to you where you can go for this year and for next. Thank you, folks, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Derek said, I have not traveled on Amtrak previously, but I'm looking to travel on Amtrak to the Grand Canyon in 2021. Did you say veterans get a 10% discount? Yes. Thank you, folks. Have a wonderful day. For any of you who did not get to see the whole presentation, I'm doing 2 more presentations at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Feel free to sign on. Thank you, folks.